This is the Crossing Bridges podcast, addressing the topics of leadership, criminal justice, and fatherhood. How can we become better leaders? Where are all the daddies? Why is crime at an all-time high? Here is your host, Bayonle Arashi.
It's always exciting coming your way every week, bringing you latest information, latest thought, information about leadership, information about criminal justice, issues about fatherlessness in our country, in our nation, in our community. And this is very, very interesting day for me. It's episode 12 of this podcast. It's also confirmed the general saying that if you really put your mind at doing something, you always find a way. But if you don't want to do it, you will always find an excuse. I'm very, very happy that something that was just a thought a few months ago has now gradually started, and already we are recording episode 12 of the podcast already. So I want to say again, thank you everyone out there that is watching, that is sharing the video, that is also taking home most of the lessons that is learned that I'm providing on the podcast, taking it into use and putting them into practical example into their life and making their life better, making their community better, making their society better. Because if we have a better society, we will have less crime. We will have our fathers at home. We will have better leaders in our society that will give us what we want, that will give us a better country, that will give us a better community, and that will transcend to giving us a better world altogether. So thank you very much again for being here today. My name is Bayonle Arashi. I'm very excited coming your way today on the podcast. I just want to make it a very easy one. I want to make it a very heart-to-heart discussion. I want to share with you the price of success, the sacrifice of success. We do not talk enough about this. Just a couple of days ago, I finished reading my fourth book of the year. Some will say, some expert out there, some very, very intelligent people will say, well, maybe that is not so much for the year, but it's just the month of March. And I think I have to give myself a credit for that and a pat on the back, reading 4 books already in 2023. And the title of the book I read was Law of Attraction. It was a very, very, very interesting book written by a couple, the Hicks family. And that book taught most of the things that we already know, that a lot of us are already aware of in the world, and which is what our mind can do, the power, the limitless power that our heart, our mind, this mind of us can achieve if we put it into the right use, of course. And that book really, really set the tone for today's podcast. And that's one of the reasons why I am sharing it to you today, with you today, some of the lessons I learned from it, and also going to say some of the experience, some of the lessons I have learned over the past few years I have been living on this planet, and some of the things I have seen that are happening in the world. And I'm hoping that sharing them with you will help you to give you a clearer picture of your own life and of your own situation, and how things can really get better for every one of us in whatever area of life that we are working in, whatever field you choose, whatever profession you want to work in. It doesn't matter if you are still a student, if you are a teenager, if you are a young adult, if you are a young professional, even if you are old, if you are retired, there is always a chance for you to start again. There's always a chance for you to reflect. There's always a chance for you to teach some of the lessons that you have learned, so that other people would not make the same mistake you have made. They will not walk the path that you have walked and made mistakes in. You will provide for them the necessary example of what they need to do and where they need to go. But the question is, Do you want success? A lot of us want success so much, but we do not want to do the work. We do not want to put in what it takes. We do not want to put in the sacrifice. We do not want to put in those days, those nights, those lonely nights. And as I said earlier, I'm really hoping that by the time I share some of my story, which I hope definitely not going to be every one of them, for the few that I'm going to share with you, that you will take them home and then you can put them into use. As Tony Robbins said, he said, everything we do in his book, Awaken the Giant Within You. I will recommend that book for you. The book Awaken the Giant Within You by Tony Robbins is a huge book, but one that really will give you some life lessons. Tony Robbins in the book was telling the story of his own life, of how his dad back then, who he calls an abusive dad, used to not believe in people giving them anything. And it was a Christmas and people came to their house to knock on their door and give them something because they didn't have anything to eat at home. And that the dad, even though he does not have money and he could not provide for the family, the little those guests give to him, he threw it away and make everybody go hungry. And how that moment for him was a moment of him realizing, I have to do something for my family and I have to become a different one. So if you want to look at that, for Tony Robbins to come from that kind of home and make himself what he is today, inspiring millions of people, and I can actually say billions of people across the world. He came from that low level in his life and was actually thinking about that particular moment while he was flying his own personal helicopter across a particular venue where he was supposed to be going. And he said in his favorite quote, he said, everything we do either out of our need to avoid pain or our desire to gain pleasure. You have to think about that again. Everything that we do them out of our need to either avoid the pain of life, because there are only two pains in life, the pain of regret or the pain of success. So there is no easy way out. You're going to have pain in some way, whichever path you want to choose. But again, someone also said, if you think the pain of regret, if you think the pain of success is bad, wait until you see the bill for the pain of regret. Regret is not what you want to pay for. It's not what you want to think about. It's not what you want your life to be remembered for. I was also fortunate about a week ago to drive with some friends through the north side of the Houston, Texas area. I'm a Houston resident, and I never knew such a place is available in this country. I never knew such place exists until I had that drive through the Fifth Ward and some other areas. I can't remember them now, where some of the incarcerated emails, most of the incarcerated emails, inmates today in Texas come from. And when I looked at those areas, we actually drove through the street, through the area. I saw from the point of an immigrant, something I never thought I would be able to see, something I thought only exists in some part of West Africa where I come from. Shackle houses, rundown houses, streets that are no longer functional, people that are just standing by the roadside drinking, people that want to sell drugs in the broad daylight, young females showing off themselves as prostitutes in the broad daylight at about 1 p.m. in the afternoon. And it was just so shocking to me that you were born in the United States of America. Many of you will probably have no idea when I express it that way from a point of an immigrant, that United States of America, the picture some of us have before we come here is that when you come here, it is like heaven, that there is no better place than the United States. But yes, and I absolutely agree that there's no better place like this country. This is the freest country on the planet Earth. It is a country where if you dream of anything, you can achieve it. Only if you are willing to put in the work, if you are willing to go through that pain of success, if you are willing to do it. And for me, seeing all of that, and imagine that even though you are born in those circumstances, in that situation, in that environment, you still have the capacity to be able to move out of there and move your family out of there and create the life you want. But one of the things I observe is that people are not willing to pay those prices. There is no easy way out. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to become, there is always a price to pay for them. I immigrated to the United States in 2015. I have told my stories several times on different platforms that I've been on, and on some of my videos, and on different occasions. And when I came here, I only came with a bag full of dreams and excitement in my heart that, well, maybe after a year or two, things will start taking shape. I left my young daughters ages 10 to 1 then, and believe it or not, a couple of years after, I have not, I repeat, had the chance to see those young, beautiful women that they have become now again. For me, that is one of the biggest sacrifice I have made. That is one of the biggest price that I am paying, that I have paid for my family, to be able to create a better life for my girls. And I am not going to go back, because I know and I'm now aware of the necessary things I need to do to be able to provide a better life for them. I know that I cannot look back. I know, because they are always looking up to me. They are saying, Daddy is there, and someday Daddy is going to come home, and Daddy is going to take us to America, and we're going to have a better life. So girls, if you're watching this, Daddy hasn't forgotten his promise, and he's putting in the work. And for me, that's just one of the example. Also, my mother, that every month of June, which is my month of birth, normally, since I've been here, will call me from the first day of that month of June till my birthday on the 28th, and we just keep praying. She will be so excited. But believe it or not, over the last 2 years, she's been suffering from dementia, and it's been one of the biggest battles of my life. Not being able to be there for her, but I'm grateful that my siblings are there and they're taking care of her. And with the little support I am able to offer from this part of the world, she's still alive and she's still doing okay. She still talks to me. She still knows I'm her son, and then we still communicate every now and then. And that also, you may not have any idea, or you do. Maybe you have your mom still alive, in perfect health, and doing very, very well in life, and you have opportunity to see her and celebrate her every day. You will probably appreciate it more. But these are the few personal things in my life that I mentioned to you, that are prices that I have paid. I have missed a lot of milestones in the life of my daughters. Huge milestones. One of them is in the college now. I'm almost graduating from a private university back home. I have not been there for her. The only opportunity I've had, thank God for technology, is to be able to see them over the phone every now and then still be able to communicate with them. And I'm very, very grateful for that. So you have to pay a price. You must be willing to give something for your life. You will never, ever, ever have the opportunity to throw all the freedom, all the opportunity you have away, just because the environment you grow up in, the community you grow up in, all you see or all you saw growing up was poverty, was drugs, was rape, was anything that you think probably mess you up. You have the strength, you have the power, you have the capacity to be able to switch that. I also learned in that book that I read few months ago, as I said, the book by Tony Robbins, Awaken the Giant in You, that every one of us actually have the capacity to change our state of mind at any point in time. When that depressive thought comes around, when that thought of I don't want to do this anymore, I am tired of this, comes around, we all have that power to switch it from that negative state, from that negative mode into a positive one, and have the strength to continue doing what we are doing, to continue chasing our dreams, to continue following our path day by day by simply releasing that negative thought that comes to your mind. For example, you're working at work and somebody said something that triggers something in you. You have the capacity to look at it and process that particular word or that particular information and say, okay, this person said this. Okay, maybe he's right, or maybe that's his thought or her thought, and say, okay, I'll throw it away and release that thought, release that state, and think of something that makes you happy. It could be something as little as you playing your favorite game on your phone or on your computer, something that gets you excited. It could be the day your daughter or your son was born and you were there, which for some of us is some of the biggest and best memory we have. It could be the day you graduated from high school or from a college. It could be the day of your wedding. It could be the day you got your first job. There is always something positive that we can look at and that we can use to switch our mode from a negative state to a positive one immediately without giving it any extra thought. So you have that power, you have the capacity to keep on going day by day. The data out there are very, very, very ridiculous when it comes to the criminal justice system, because many of the young people that I know today that are actually the inspiration behind this podcast make those decisions they make for the reason of not having their parents together, for not having dad and mom in the house, for not having a father that will correct them, that will assist them when they need to talk, that will talk to them, that will be there for them mentally and psychologically. And many of them make a lot of decisions that are wrong during their days in the middle or high school. And the statistics of young men or even adult men in the United States today, as I saw in the book I read by Tony Evans, Kingdom Man, is really, really unthinkable. And we cannot continue, we cannot build a great society, a great country going this path. I'm really hoping that you can look at it and you will not be part of that sensor. You will not be part of that data. According to him, he said roughly 70% of all prisoners come from fatherless homes, and approximately 80% of all rapists with anger problems come from fatherless homes. He also said the statistics on fatherlessness outside of the prison population are just as alarming. 71% of all high school dropouts, 71% of all high school dropouts come from fatherless homes. 63% of all teen suicides occur in home where the father was either abusive or absent. Just imagine, that is actually just a part of it. I had to read that directly from the book for you to understand what we are dealing with here. So fathers, young men out there, you cannot continue to negate your responsibility. You cannot continue to run away from your responsibility. As I said, when I visited the north side of Houston over the last week, I saw men on the street in the afternoon just hanging around. I wish I brought my phone out and recorded some of the things I saw, but it was a very authentic and raw emotion for me, especially for the fact that I came here chasing dream, looking forward to being someone, and then I feel that people that are actually born in those things are not taking the full advantage of what they have. Personally, for me, it is a very sad thing. And I really think we have to do better, and we can do better. And what are the things you can do to really start helping yourself, to really start making your life better, to really start willing to pay those sacrifices, to pay those prices for success? There are there are many things you can do. One of the things that I practice that I really encourage you to start working on is affirmation. You have to continue to affirm to yourself every day that good things will happen to you, that you will be a success, that you will have your own place in this world, that you will not be a failure, that as a father or as a mother, that you will be the joyful father and joyful mother of your children, that the ones that God has are put in your possession for you to bring to this world, they will not fail. They will not go to prison. And even if they have made that mistake at one point or the other in their life, that you will make sure things are corrected and they are set on the right mode. Affirmation is very, very important. It helps us to shift our mood from the negative state to positive state. It gives us that encouragement to keep going every day. Secondly, something that is also very, very important, which I actually make the first part of my life, is making God the foundation of your life, or having some sort of spiritual practice. Because I observe in the environment that we live today that you cannot tell people what to do. You cannot force people to believe in God. But for me, God has been the foundation. He has been the reason why I have been able to take everything I shared with you earlier in terms of my children, in terms of my dream, taking so long to come to pass, knowing that God only in his time only makes things perfect. Also, he is the one that has given me dream to continue to chase, to say, okay, just because you do not have some things while you were growing up, I'm going to use you to create some of those things to help others. And that's why I have a dream of building a soccer and vocational institution that will help a couple of young men and women, and that will make them to continue to go into the world and be better ambassadors for God, to be better ambassadors for life, to be a better human being first. And as I always say, if you're watching this on video, you will see it right behind me. I wake up every morning to look at my dream, because I write them down every day. You have to have some form of spiritual practice. You have to make God the foundation of your life. You have to read your Bible. You have to practice affirmation, and you have to practice journaling. If thought comes to your mind as part of your price to pay, you have to write it down, because when some of those thoughts come, they come as a flash. And when they come and you don't grab it immediately by writing them down as a form of confirmation of what you have received, it is going to go, and you will not have the opportunity to be able to find them and recover it again. As I haven't said all of that, there are a couple of questions that I recommend that you ask yourself every day that can help you to be able to to be able to make things better, to be able to shape your life. Some of the things that I think if you start using, if you start practicing, you will see after a couple of days, things will start looking better for you. I know there is so much anxiety out there. There's so much anger out there. There's so much pain out there. There's so much depression out there. There are many things that we see that doesn't want us to continue to go. But you either have these excuses of not willing to do them, or you are willing to put those things in. Remember, in the quote I mentioned in Tony Robbins' book, Awaken the Giant Within You, two things have to inspire you. You have to either be thinking of how to avoid pain or be desiring pleasure. Now, either of the way, you must be willing to pay for it. If you want to gain pleasure, you have to be willing to put in the work for those pleasure that you want to gain, and or pay for the price of go through the pain of success and let success come to you, and be willing to really go through it. Or maybe you have a full life full of regret, but regret is not a good thing. I have seen, if you want to know what a regret is like, look into the eyes of an 85, 86-year-old man and ask him, what did you wish you have done with your life at early stage? And maybe some of his words will help you. I also remember one of my mentors, online mentors, as I always call them, Gary Vaynerchuk, said that regret is best learned from old people. Go and ask them. If you have old people living around your environment, go and ask them. Ask them questions about life. Ask them what they think they did with their life in their 20s and in their 30s. And maybe this will help you to go home and think deep about your own life and not choose a life of crime and not choose to going back to prison and continue to encourage a rate of recidivism that America is currently battling. There is so much challenges that this country is battling with. But before I go quickly, there are a few great questions that you need to ask yourself every day that can really shape you, shape your thoughts, that can shape your life, that can move your life forward, that can make you to continue to put in the work, continue to be patient with your dream, continue to look at your dream and believe in it and going forward at it. One of them is to ask yourself, what am I grateful for? No matter how hard your life is currently, there is always something or many things to be grateful for. But what we do not do as human is to take time to just stop from whatever mood we are in, from whatever mood we feel, from whatever how we are feeling currently, and just think back and think about what we are grateful for. There is always something. You waking up this day alone and having the opportunity to listen to this podcast or be watching it on video, that is something to be grateful for. The only way you're going to understand that is for you to put on the news in the evening and observe what the first 3 news is going to be about. Either someone is being shot or someone is dead or someone is in the hospital. There is always something to be grateful for. Your life is the most important thing to be grateful for. You always have something, one thing to think about that you say, Lord, I am grateful for this. You have to ask yourself this question. What am I grateful for? You will always have something to be grateful for, no matter how hard you think life is. Second one that I think you should also ask yourself is, what am I happy about in my life right now? There is always something to be happy about. No matter how you think, you look at it, there is always something to be happy about. It could be your health. It could be your bank account. It could be the love of your life. It could be the roof over your head. It could be your car. It could be your toy. It could be the phone you are holding in your hand that you are using to listen to this podcast or watching this video in. But there is always something to be happy about. The third question is, what am I excited about? There is also something always to be excited about. I am excited about my tomorrow. I'm excited about my future. I'm excited for the fact that I can wake up in the morning, go on my knees and pray and look right in front of me and see my dreams right in front of me, that this is what I want God to use me for. This is my own calling. I'm always excited about that. There's always something for you to be excited about. The fourth question is, what am I proud of? There's always something to be proud of. I am very proud of my children. Despite the fact that I am not there for them physically, God has been very marvelous. I have great help that are helping to look after them, and they are in great shape. They are in great health. All of them are doing excellently well in their education. I am here. I'm chasing my dream. I am working. I am making not enough, but I'm making money to be able to take care of them and take care of myself and be able to take care of my sick mother. So that for me is something I'm always very proud about. And I also have people around me that tell me every time they have that I am proud of you. So there's always something to be proud about. Ask yourself that question. What am I proud about? Another one you need to ask yourself, this is the question of responsibility. This is the question of your calling. This is the question of purpose. And the question is, what have I given today? Every day you have to question yourself, what have I given for the dream I am looking forward to, for the life I want to build? What have I given today? Or what am I willing to give? If you're asking yourself that question in the morning, do you read your books? Do you go to the gym and work out? Are you following your dream? Are you studying that course online? There are thousands of them these days that you can study. There is a new technology called ChatGPT that answers all your questions this day. So you have to find something to give every day. It could be for you to just give yourself some time to go and volunteer at a nursing home, at elderly home, and volunteer and help old people to go to the market and do some shopping for them. It could be for you to go and volunteer at a YMCA. It could be for you to go and volunteer at a church event. It could be for you to serve a leader in your area. There is always something to give. You have to ask yourself that question: what have I given today? The other question is, what did I learn today? What are you learning? What have you learned so far in this podcast? What have you learned before you encounter this particular video? There's always something for you to learn. You have to make every day a learning process by continuously developing yourself, continuously learning every day, continuously improving your vocabulary, continuously improving your communication skill, continuously knowing more about life, reading books, learning about people, learning about areas, learning about new things. Like I said, that I never knew that part of the world existed when I visited the northern part of Houston a couple of days ago. I learned a big lesson making that visit. The last but not the least in this question is, how has today added to the quality of my life? Is a question that is very, very important. You have to ask yourself that question. How has today added to the quality of your life? What kind of life do you want? How quality do you want it to be? And believe it or not, all these great questions that I have asked you today, that I've implore you to continuously ask yourself, is something that will really, really help you to be willing to pay that price. There is no shortcut to success. It does not exist. Do not let anybody sell you that quick fix scheme. It only leads to destruction. And I really, really hope the best for you. I pray your life will not be destroyed. I pray your purpose be fulfilled. If you have not found your purpose yet, I pray you continue to put in work. This is one of the things that I do personally. Over the years that I have learned, all the lessons I have learned, I am always willing to visit schools and talk to young people in middle school, in elementary school, in high school, and share some of my experience with them. So if you are out there and you work in any of these areas, you are a principal of an elementary school, or a teacher, or in a middle school, or a college coach, or a coach coaching any sport team in any of these institutions, reach out to me and I will be willing to come and share some live lessons with your folks, with your students, where they will learn. And I really, really believe some of the stories that I have are very interesting. They will be willing to listen and it will move their life forward. As I'm a continuous learner. I'm a student of leadership. I'm always learning, because I believe that leadership is the number one challenge that we have in the world today. And if all of us are willing to step up to plate, to step up and put in the work, we can have a better society. And I really, really hope you enjoy this episode of the podcast. It is coming straight from my heart. I just choose to not write any script today. Just want to talk about the price of success, because there is always a price to pay. It's been my pleasure bringing it to you. My name is Bayonle Arashi. Till I see you guys again next time, God willing, keep working on your dream, keep chasing your purpose, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.
Thank you for listening to the Crossing Bridges podcast with Bayonle Arashi. Your comments, suggestions, and ideas are welcomed. Follow Bayonle on all social media platforms at Bayonle Arashi, or visit www.bayonlearashi.com for coaching and speaking engagements. See you next time.